welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something really quite fascinating happening in Indian politics, specifically in Uttar Pradesh.
Ah, UP. Can't talk Indian politics without talking UP.
Exactly. We're looking at this emerging strategy from Akhilesh Yadav, the leader of the Samajwadi Party. He seems to be increasingly invoking the legacy of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar.
A very powerful legacy.
Absolutely. And the big question we want to explore today, really get under the surface of, is this, a genuine ideological change for his party? Or is it maybe a smart, calculated political move in a state that is just so crucial for national power?
Right. That's the core tension here.
So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to sift through all that. We'll look at the history, what they're actually doing, and of course, the debates and controversies popping up around it.
Think of it as getting you up to speed fast.
Precisely. Your shortcut to understanding this key shift. We think you'll find some surprising things, maybe a few aha moments along the way. You'll definitely get a clearer picture.
And it's worth stressing just how important Uttar Pradesh is. I mean, 80 Lok Sabha seats, that's huge.
It dictates national outcomes, often.
It really does. It's the political heart of India, no exaggeration. And the caste and community dynamics there, well, they're incredibly complex, like a chessboard, constantly shifting. So understanding this specific move by Akhilesh, it gives you a window into the whole system, the very fabric of Indian politics. It's not just about UP.
Okay, so let's paint that picture. The political canvas of Uttar Pradesh. For a long time, things felt quite defined, didn't they?
Yeah, the main players had their lanes, more or less.
You had the Samajwadi Party, the SP. People saw them mainly as the party for Yadavs and Muslims.
That was their traditional base, yes.
Then the Bahujan Samaj Party, the BSP, really the strong dominant voice for Dalits.
Almost exclusively for a long time.
And then the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, focusing on consolidating the Hindu vote. A fairly clear, if rigid structure.
And knowing that helps understand Akhilesh Yadav's moves now.
Yeah.
He came in after his father, Mulayam Singh Yadav, a giant figure. Akhilesh, born 73, right?
Yes.
He had this sort of modern, tech-savvy image. Remember the Lucknow Metro project? That was during his time as chief minister, 2012 to 2017.
Right.
But then came the 2017 assembly elections, and while the SP lost badly, it wasn't just a defeat. It really forced them to rethink everything.
A strategic crisis, almost.
You could say that. It became painfully clear that just relying on the Yadavs and Muslims wasn't going to cut it anymore. They had to expand. They needed a broader coalition. And that really is the backdrop for this pivot towards Ambedkar.
Which brings us squarely to Dr. Ambedkar himself, a towering figure, born April 14th, 1891, jurist, economist, chief architect of the Indian Constitution.
An incredible mind.
And a relentless fighter against caste discrimination. His impact is just immense, partly due to his life's work, but also that very significant act in 1956 converting to Buddhism.
A powerful rejection of the caste hierarchy within Hinduism.
Exactly. So his ideology isn't just history. It's a living, potent symbol for social justice today, especially for marginalized groups. So why is Akhilesh invoking him now so significantly?
Well, it's how they've put it into action since around 2018. It hasn't just been... We've seen Ambedkar's image appearing prominently in their election materials. They installed a bust of Ambedkar right at the SP party headquarters, a very clear visual signal.
Hard to miss.
And they even set up a dedicated wing within the party, the Babasahib Vahini, specifically to promote his ideals and, connect with that whole school of thought.
So it's more than just lip service.
Oh, definitely. It feels like a conscious strategic rebranding, a very visible effort to pull in voters who weren't traditionally in their camp, especially Dalits.
And there's more to it, right? These PDA panchayats.
Yes. The PDA meetings. PDA stands for Pishta, Dalit, Alpsankhyak, so backward classes, Dalits, and minorities. They've been holding these community meetings across Uttar Pradesh. The core message is unity, trying to build this grand alliance of the marginalized.
Summed up in that slogan.
Exactly. Judenj to Jitenj. If we unite, we will win. It's a direct counter-narrative to the BJP's focus, trying to build a different kind of coalition.
It's interesting how Akhilesh also uses personal stories to build this narrative. I found this fascinating.
The anecdotes, yeah. They're very deliberate.
He talks about after he left the chief minister's house in Lucknow in 2017, BJP workers came and cleansed it with Gangajal, holy Ganges water.
A deeply symbolic act in Hinduism implying impurity.
Right. And it brings up a similar thing in Kannauj in 2024, a temple being washed after he visited during the campaign. He doesn't let these stories fade.
And the significance there is, well, It's profound.
Yeah.
By constantly retelling these stories, he's drawing a parallel, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's implicitly aligning his own experience being treated as needing purification with the historical experience of Dalits.
Who were treated as impure, as untouchable.
Precisely. It's a really clever narrative strategy. He's basically saying, look, what they did to me, a Yadav leader, is similar to the discrimination you, as Dalits, have faced for centuries. It tries to forge this sense of shared grievance, shared experience.
Crossing traditional caste lines.
Turning a personal slight into a collective symbol.
And electorally, it seems to have had some real impact. You look at the 2024 Lok Sabha results.
Quite remarkable, really.
The SP, allied with Congress, won 43 seats. That's a significant chunk in UP. And it wasn't just luck, was it? Their candidate selection seemed very deliberate.
Oh, very much so. They put that PDA formula into practice. They fielded candidates from lots of different OBC communities, Kurmis, Shakyas, Mauryas, Nishads, way beyond just Yadavs.
Expanding the bend.
Exactly. And significantly, they gave tickets to Dalit candidates in general seats, not just the ones reserved for Dalits. That was a first for the SP.
Major signal.
A huge signal. And you also saw him speaking out on other issues, like when those Yadav priests were assaulted in Etawah in 2025. It wasn't just about Dalits. It was framed as protecting all marginalized groups under this broader social justice umbrella, reinforcing that new positioning.
Okay, so all of this action, the narrative, the electoral results, it leads us right back to that central, tricky question.
The sincerity question.
Yeah. Is this a real, genuine ideological shift for the Samajwadi Party? A true transformation? Or is it, at the end of the day, just smart politics? A gimmick to win votes?
It's the elephant in the room, isn't it? And the critics are definitely loud on this one.
Who's leading the criticism?
Well, notably, Mayawati, the BSP chief, herself a major Dalit leader, she's publicly called it an eyewash.
Strong words.
Very strong. She argues it's just about greed for votes, and she often brings up history, specifically that awful incident in 1995.
The state guest house assault?
Right, where Mayawati was allegedly attacked by SP workers. That event left deep scars in Dalit political memory. So critics like her use that past to question the SP's sincerity now. Can they really be trusted?
Yeah, the BJP must be weighing in, too.
Oh, absolutely. The BJP questions the shift, too, often trying to polarize the situation along religious lines, maybe point out inconsistencies, frame it as pure opportunism to keep their own voters consolidated.
But what about the other side? How do SP supporters see it?
Well, from their perspective, this is a genuine, necessary evolution. They'd argue the party has to change with the times.
Especially to counter the BJP.
Especially to counter the BJP's dominant Hindutva narrative, which emphasizes Hindu identity. And frankly, they need Dalit votes. Those votes have often gone to the BSP or, more recently, the BJP. So reaching out is essential for survival and growth.
And they might point to the 2024 results as proof it's working.
Exactly. They held strong in 2024, even after some leaders like Swami Prasad Maurya left in 2023. That resilience suggests to them that the strategy has some real traction, that maybe voters are buying into this new positioning, that it's perhaps more than just surface level.
It's so complex.
It really is. And when you look at the analysis, the most likely answer is probably both.
Both sincere and strategic.
Yeah. It seems likely it's partly a genuine attempt to align with Ambedkar's ideals of equality, which resonates with many within and outside the party, but it's also undeniably a very shrewd strategic calculation.
The need to win forces the change.
In a way, yes. The political necessity of attracting new voters, especially Dalits and other backward groups, kind of forces an ideological broadening. Invoking Ambedkar isn't just about Dalits anymore. It's about repositioning the SP as the party for all marginalized communities, moving decisively beyond just the Yadav label.
Jack, duality makes it fascinating.
It does, and very effective, potentially.
It really shows how politics, especially in India, is rarely just one thing. It's never black and white. And we have to remember, Ambedkar wasn't just a symbol to be used. He was a deep thinker who wanted the annihilation of caste, fundamental equality.
His goals were radical, transformative.
So the real test for the SP and for you listening is whether these actions truly embody those principles or if they're just borrowing the symbolism for political gain.
And maybe it's too early to tell definitively. I mean, actions like the PDA panchayats, the Babasahib Vahini, they suggest a real effort. It's a calculated shift for sure, But whether it's, skin deep or soul deep,
Only time will tell.
exactly. But for now, it's absolutely keeping the SP in the game, making them relevant and competitive in Uttar Pradesh. And in that political arena, that's half the battle, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a strategy that's clearly having an impact right now. So wrapping up this deep dive, we've traced Akhilesh Yadav's quite remarkable political evolution, or at least his strategic shift. We've seen the deliberate move towards Ambedkarite ideas,
The specific actions, the busts, the Vahini.
the powerful stories he tells, linking his experience to broader marginalization.
And that fiery debate, sincerity versus strategy.
It's a really compelling political drama playing out right now, reshaping things in India's most crucial state.
And it really leaves us with a big question to ponder, doesn't it? Looking ahead, what does this Ambedkarite gambit by Akhilesh actually mean for social justice movements, for identity politics in India more broadly?
How might it change how other parties operate?
Right. And crucially, what are the long-term effects for the Dalit community itself? Their aspirations, their political representation? Is this ultimately empowering or just another turn of the political wheel?
Definitely something worth watching very, very closely.
Uh,
The ripples from UP tend to spread far and wide.
They certainly do. A political story that's far from over.